Hey everyone, I am so excited because today we are kicking off a brand new series called Family Matters. And it's all about family. It's all about the people that we live with. When you go home, these are the people that you are spending time with, and you have probably been spending time with those people a lot lately. Probably now more than ever before, and maybe ever again. And so it seemed like now is probably a better time than ever to talk about how we can get along with our families, how we can be a positive influence with our families, how we have a significant role to play with our families. And here's the thing, I want to say up top in this series that no family is perfect. Not a single one. No matter what we see online, no matter what we read, no family is perfect. Every single family has drama. Every single family has things that are messed up. Every single family has things that they probably wish were a little bit different. And so I say that to say, hey, if you have things right now that you're struggling with, that when you've been home for a while, that you're saying, hey, like there's drama that I'm dealing with. Hey, there's tension that I'm dealing with. Hey, I feel caught in between with some stuff. Things are just kind of messed up. I wish things were different. You are not alone. Here's the thing. Even families in the Bible had some serious drama. Actually, I would say most families in the Bible had some serious drama. Even the most well-known stories in the Bible are sometimes about families with some seriously messed up stuff going on in them. We're going to look at one of those families today, specifically two brothers, and maybe you've heard of them before, maybe not. Their names are Jacob and Esau. And Jacob and Esau were twin brothers. Even though Esau was born first, because he was just barely born before his brother Jacob, he was still considered the firstborn. And in this time, thousands of years ago, being the firstborn son in a family was a huge deal. The biggest part of why was because being the firstborn son meant that you were the person who would one day carry on the legacy of your family. You were the initial heir of everything that your family built, everything that they did, their faith, their traditions, every single part of it. You were considered the one who would carry that on. And it was a huge responsibility and a huge blessing at the same time. And because Esau was just barely born first, he was the firstborn son and he would carry on this legacy. Here's the thing. Drama kicks in with this family pretty soon because Jacob, the younger brother, decides that he wants to be the one to carry on the legacy. He wants everything that's guaranteed to the firstborn son, even though he isn't. And so he finds a way to get that privilege, to get that right from his older brother in exchange, get this, for a bowl of soup. Esau gives everything away just so he can eat a meal. And Jacob even goes on to trick their dad into officially giving over this right, to officially give over this privilege. And needless to say, even though Esau originally agreed to this, he is so mad. And things get messed up with this family super fast. I would encourage you to go through the Bible, to read the story, to see all of the crazy stuff that happens. It's in the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Bible, in chapters 25, 27, 32, and 33. So there's a lot there. But I would encourage you to read it through. And as you read it, or maybe it's just as you're listening to it, here's what I think is the biggest deal for us today from this whole story of these two brothers. Is that Jacob and Esau are important. Their whole family is considered super important to the story of the Bible, this story that God was writing and is still writing today. They are important to us as we figure out our faith. But they still had a ton of drama. Here's the thing. Even though their family had so much drama, God was still with them. God didn't disqualify this family just because there were things that were messed up. And the other thing is that there was more for them. This drama, this stuff that was really messed up, it wasn't the last chapter of their story. It didn't end this. God didn't decide that he was done with them, and their drama didn't define their family. It didn't have to. Jacob and Esau eventually made up. And it was through compassion that they found a new path. And here's what I think that matters. Is that no matter what you are working through with your family, no matter what daily life looks like for you at home right now, God is still with your family. In drama, the things that are messed up, the things that aren't the way that we wish they were, it doesn't have to have the final say in your family. It doesn't have to define your family. Because hear this, no family is perfect. But because of that, we need to choose compassion. And in all of this conversation, compassion is so, so, so important. Compassion just means that we care enough to think about someone else's perspective. We care enough to get outside of our own thoughts and outside of what we want and what we want in the moment and ask ourselves, what do I think is going on with this other person? And how can I care enough to ask and to know? Because, Jacob and Esau eventually reconciled. They eventually repaired their relationship, and it came down to compassion. It took them setting aside their differences and letting forgiveness happen, showing grace to one another, showing compassion. And I think we have to be willing to do the same thing. I think we have to listen before we speak. We have to ask questions before we make decisions about something that's happening or about someone. And when we choose compassion, it helps us stop making decisions all about us or only focused on us. And it helps us choose the best path for our families. Because when we start to think about someone else's perspective, when we start to think about someone else's point of view and what might be going on with them and asking them and showing compassion to one another, our focus goes on their relationship. It goes on moving forward rather than just getting what we want. Right now, compassion is so important. Compassion is always important. But the longer that we are with our families, the more time we spend together, we don't have to just spend it wishing things were different. Instead, we can actively play a role in our families. We can choose compassion, and we can choose by starting today to be compassionate with our families, to think about their point of view for the sake of our families, for the sake of those relationships. And so again here, no family is perfect. No one is. But that makes it matter all the much more. And I'm sure you probably have your own experiences right now over the last couple months that you're thinking of how this has been hard or maybe how you've shown compassion. And I think when we talk through those things, we're better off. We're better off when we can work through these things together. And so I hope you'll join us at 1:30 today for small groups if you're watching this on the day that's released. If you need the link to join, please let someone know. We would love to see you there. And I can't wait to see you this afternoon. See ya.